Okay, so you left here, right, where we had our site plan all done, and you should have a 3D that shows buildings around, but not our new building yet. Now we need to add in some information about our building itself. So the first thing I want to do is I realized I never made a building pad here. A building pad flattens out the site and enables you to create, basically it's like it flattens things out so you can build up from there. So I'm going to go to my site plan and I'm going to go to massing and site, building pad, and I'm going to use the outline of this plus this little area. Well, do we want to include that or not? The patio. Let's see, do we think the patio is a separate piece or do we think it's part of it? Let's take a look. Yeah, we're gonna have the whole thing on one building pad, but it's kind of about this big. Well, no, we're gonna leave that one alone. We're just gonna do it for the building. Okay, so I'm going to have building pad. I'm going to use this to select these lines that are already here. And I'm going to hit my green check mark. And then this is at level 1 right now. I want it to be offset below. So I'm going to put it at street level for now. I'm wondering if we have basement plans with this. So if I go to here, just look like there's any basement plans, first floor, second floor, third floor. Do we think there is a basement? Second question. I'd imagine there is a basement because if I look here, I can see that there's like some windows down here, but maybe it's just a crawl space. Maybe it's not like a full basement level. We aren't going to model it for our purposes. So I'm just going to leave that building pad at street level and call it a day. Okay. So now if I go to my 3D view, you should see that you have kind of a flattened out little area here that represents the street level of our building. Okay. So I want to bring in my floor plan so that I'm able to actually trace in my site. So I'm going to go to my level 1 floor plan. So go to my project browser, double click on level 1. And then here, your crop box is probably still way out here. I brought mine in. To make your crop box appear, you go down here to your view toolbar and you turn this to show crop region. Then you have this and you can bring this in. And I'm just bringing it in smaller so they can kind of see what I'm doing. I'm also, for now, going to change to wireframe view if you're not on wireframe view. Oops, those aren't in here, so that I can see the image when I import it. So the floor plan image, again, is coming from Redfin. It's this image. I uploaded a screenshot of that to Google Classroom, or sorry, not Google Classroom, to Canvas, so you should be able to download it. Over here, I'm going to go to Insert, Image, Import Image, and then I'm going to look for fair amount floor plans and open them up. Okay, I'm now going to click and drag the sides of this to get it to be about the right size. You'll notice that it's backwards right now. The patio should be back here as opposed to in the front. So I'm going to rotate the whole thing. My rotate is over here under Modify Raster Images. And in Modify tab, I'm going to click, rotate this all the way around. Okay, and then I'm going to look at my first floor plan first because we are on level 1. So I'm bringing this corner over here. I'm using my arrow keys to kind of get that all dialed in, getting as close as possible. Again, if you were doing this project for real, you would be going and doing real site measurements, as opposed to relying on this floor plan that's downloaded from online. So this obviously is not going to be 1,100% correct, but it is what we're working with. Okay, so it's a little too big still, so I'm going to bring this in. Right, because I want my patio to kind of end there. My building should actually end all the way up there, so this still looks way too big. Let me bring this in. I'm going to look at matching up this front volume to here first because I think that's probably more reliable than the back. So I'm making this smaller. Probably too small there. Making a little bit, oops, sorry, first floor. Making a little bit bigger. bigger. Okay, that width is starting to look decent. So I'm using my arrow keys to bring that down to a line there, and let's see how the length is looking. I'm going to let it be a little bit bigger here so that that back wall is aligning. So I'm going to bring that up a little bit more. Okay, so it looks like my front to back looks about right. And here you'll notice that this doesn't look quite right here. But we're going to go with that for now and hope for the best. Okay, so again, because I didn't really go out and do site measurements myself, this is all going to be a little bit off, but we're going to use this as a reference to creating our building best we can. So once I have this about in the right place, I'm going to hit the pin button so it doesn't move around on me. Okay, first thing I want to do is establish where my exterior walls are. So question one is like, what are these walls, right? So if I look at them, from the outside, it looks like they have a layer of brick. It looks like inside it's gypsum board. I don't really have a lot of other information about these walls other than that. It looks like the one, the party wall looks like it's just bare brick. There's no gypsum board on that. So it looks like there is an interior gypsum board wall. There's a brick with gypsum board. That's also brick exterior walls. Okay, so there's not a ton of information we get from that. Let's look at the side. Oh, we can't look at that view. Great. Take a look here. It looks like there's like a little roof addition here that has regular siding on it. Let's see if we can see that better from here. Oh, no, that's the next house over. So I would say we're just going to have 3 different types of walls to simplify things. So we're going to have one that is just 2 wides of brick. We're going to have one that is brick on the outside with some studs and then some gypsum board on the inside. And then we're going to have one that's like a gypsum board interior wall. Those are the 3 kind of walls we need to get started. I also want to remind you that when we were setting up our site, we already set up some levels. So if I click on my section, right click and hit go to view, you'll notice that we already have on here this street level drawing, right? Sorry, street level, level 1, level 2, level 3 roof. These are important because we're going to have our walls extend to these various levels. Going back to level 1, we're going to go to architecture wall. Then under properties, you'll notice that right now we're using a basic wall, generic 8 inches. If I click down, they have all different kinds of wall that it could be. So because this is an old building, some of the types that are in here probably aren't as helpful as you might hope. So like for example, we have this exterior brick on metal stud R54. Let's take a look at what that looks like. So if I go to edit type and edit my structure, so that has 3 5/8 brick with a 3-inch air gap. An air layer, plywood, a membrane layer, a metal stud that's 6 inches, and a finish. I guess like I just don't know if they actually have 6-inch metal stud on these. I think that it's probably a thinner wall than this in these old buildings. So I'm gonna hit cancel on that. I'm actually gonna duplicate this type. And again, I don't know what this actual wall is made of, so we're just gonna make it up here. So I'm just gonna call this exterior, exterior brick with gyp. So gypsum board on the inside. Hit OK. Then I'm going to edit my layers. So I'm going to leave the brick alone. I'm going to leave. I don't think that it has this air layer. I think that's unlikely. So I'm just going to delete that. delete that. We don't need that right now. Plywood. I'm going to delete that. I'm going to change the metal stud from 6-inch. I'm going to make this just 3 5/8 inch. We're making this too thin. We can leave it at 6-inch. We'll leave it at 6-inch. And then the gypsum board, the vapor layer we'll leave alone, and the gypsum board on the inside I'm going to change to 5/8. So what we're saying is that we have a wall that has a layer of brick, a layer of metal stud, a layer of gypsum board, and there's a vapor retardant on the inside of the gypsum board. Again, when you know what your real wall will look like, you can compose this correctly. You can do some investigation to see what that wall is. That's just what we're going to use for this one. Hit OK. Okay. So, and I'm actually going to edit the type one more time. I'm going to rename this, and I'm going to call this W1. I like just having some kind of a prefix on here so that they're easy to find. All my wall types are grouped together. Okay, so I'm going to make a second interior wall. So let's see if there's an interior partition we can steal. Let's look at this interior partition, edit type. Let's see what's in here. Gypsum board, metal stud, gypsum board. Yep, this is pretty standard. This looks good. I'm going to hit OK. I am going to rename it and call it W3 so I can find it. Hit OK. Okay. So now if I go over here, I should see W1, W3, and then I need one more that is going to be 2 wides of brick. That is going to be the party wall in between these 2 spaces. So for that one, I'm going to grab this generic 4-inch brick. I'm going to edit my type, duplicate it, and call this W2 party wall. Hit OK. And I'm going to edit the structure here, and I'm going to assume it is going to insert one more layer, cancel. Change the by category here to brick. Okay, so I have 2 layers of brick. I'm going to make each of these 4 inches. And then hit OK. So I now have an 8-inch wall for that. Hit OK. Okay. So those are the 3 wall types I'm going to build this with. Starting out, let's make our walls for our first floor. One question is, how far up do our walls go? Do they go all the way to the 3rd level? And it looks like it depends where we are. So you'll notice in the front, it looks like they go up all the way, but then when we get to this back area, it's only going to go up 2 levels. And so it looks like it ends right at that door. So basically we'll have a wall going up 3 levels up to the door, and then it kind of tapers off, and we can modify that side elevation later. So I'm going to come over here. My basic party wall is just going in between these 2 buildings. So I want my location to be the wall center line. I want my base constraint to be street level, and I want my top constraint here to be roof. I mentioned, so we're trying to figure out where like the border between those 2 buildings are, where it gets lower. So let's look one more time. And it looks like it's like very soon after that door. So let's create a line here. Let's say it maybe aligns with this wall. So let's have this kind of be, oops, sorry. I'm going to type in DL for detail line, or you can go to annotate detail line. I'm going to create a line here. Actually, I'm going to make a reference plane. So I'm going to type in, I'm going to architecture, reference plane, or you can type in RP. And that green dotted line is just going to help me be consistent between where I'm thinking that the building is 3 stories versus 2 stories. So I'm having it be 3 stories up to there, and then it's going to be 2 stories after that point. Okay. So architecture, wall. I want to be on W2 party wall. Base constraint is street level. Top constraint is roof. And location line is wall center line. So I'm going to take the line in here, keep it nice and straight all the way until I get to here. Then I'm going to end on that reference plane. I'm now going to create another wall. So same wall, but I'm only going to have it go, actually let's make sure, did this wall go up to roof level? Okay, that's good. Okay, so I'm gonna make one more wall. W2 party line. The party wall this time I'm going to change the top constraint up to level 3. It's not going up all the way to the roof. And again, clicking from here back to here. Okay, when I turn this corner, so I originally had wall center line because these two buildings share that wall. So I know that the property line goes straight down the middle of the wall. Once I get to the back of the house here, the footprint is going to be the outside of the wall. So I'm going to change my location. Oops. I'm going to change my location line. So architecture wall. And my location line, the finished face exterior. So that's like that outside of that brick. I'm going to change this to W1 exterior brick with gyp. So it should be gypsum board on the middle, on the inside, and brick on the outside. Over here, I'm going to change my detail level to fine so I can start seeing those layers. So I'm going to start at the middle of this wall, come this way, and then I'm coming all the way to the outside here, 11 foot 2 inches. And I'm coming forward. Until I get to this line, because remember, I'm only going to level 3 right now, and I need to change at this point. So I'm coming level 3. At this point, I'm going to change, and I'm going to go to level, to the roof level. So I'm going to keep going with this wall. I'm going to make it up to roof, and starting here to this point. And here there's some discrepancy between where the end of this is and where the end of this is. We're going to check it with the interior measurements in a minute. So I'm going to estimate for now, up to here, and allow my shapes to finish off there. Okay, so now if I look in 3D, you should see I have the 3 walls going around here, and those walls going to there. So I want to modify, those are all joined up. I think we're all good here. I want this to be joined up. Okay. I kind of want this to wrap more nicely. Let's see if I can manage that. So if I bring this to the end, yeah, so I kind of want that to, well, but I want to end there. I'm going to do that. Okay, I think that's all fine how it is. I don't think everything's ending at street level, so I'm going to tab to select all these at once. And then base constraint, I want to make sure that's street level for all of them and hit apply, so that brings that down so it's actually meeting my footprint there. You'll notice there's like this little extra area in the footprint that's not reflected in my building plan. I'm thinking that's some kind of an outdoor patio. So if I look back here, I think that's that little garden space that's being defined there. Or maybe that's talking about that little area is this balcony above. So I'm going to come back to here and I'm going to edit this building footprint. So it's a little hard to get that. So I'm going to kind of hover over it, hit tab so I can get it, and then edit my boundary here. Use my trim tool to bring this straight back to there, then delete these. And click the green button. So that just cleans that up a little bit. And I might need to clean it up here as well once we've checked the inside dimensions. Okay, so it's telling me that the living room should be 1111 by 1511. Let's see what we have right now. If I type in DI for dimension, I can also go to annotate, align dimension. I can hit tab to the inside of the wall, tab to the inside of this wall. So that right now is 16 foot 7 1/4. From there to there is 13 foot 3. So it's actually bigger than what they say it is. Which either means our walls are really thicker, or it means I'm coming out too far. This should be 9 foot by 14 foot 8. So let's see, is this 9 foot from here to here? That's 9 foot 11. And then This looks like a thick wall here that's in between. So I guess we need one more wall type for in between there as well. This should be 19. Okay, so let's put in that wall and then we can kind of look at the lengths as well. So right now this all looks like a little bit longer than it needs to be. So I think first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to bring this wall in. So I'm going to move this so that it lines up with like that black line I have there. Okay, and so that gives us to 9, 6, and 3/4. But it is like graphically it's lining up. So let's leave that for a second before changing anything else. The next thing I want to do is make a new wall type so that I can get gypsum board on both sides of this wall. So I'm going to go on this, go to edit type, duplicate this. I'm going to call this W4. And so this is exterior brick with gyp both sides. I'm just putting things, I think this is going to be a thicker wall. I think this building was added to over time. So there's some areas that are very thick walls and hit OK. Okay, so it looks like I should have a thick wall there. So I'm going to architecture wall. I'm going to add in that wall there. And I also want to add in this wall here. And this should be W4. That doesn't look like I actually edited it though, because I didn't. So hang on. So I'm going to get to edit the structure. I just want to add another layer here. So I'm going to insert, and this will be gypsum board. And I want that to be 5/8 of an inch. And then hit OK. So I'm going to move this up, move that down. Not gonna worry about that for now. Hit OK. Is it happier? Okay. Actually, I want to add one more layer. I'm going to add a layer of. I'm going to change a couple things. So I'm going to add a layer here so that the gypsum board's not directly on the bricks. I'm going to insert one here, move that down. This I'm going to make metal stud. I'm going to make this very thin. It's just going to be 2.5 inches. This will be 2.5 inches. I'm going to assume actually that the brick in between here is too wide, so I'm going to make this 8 inches. And then I'm going to make this metal stud 2.5 inches. I'm going to delete this. I don't care about the membrane layer right now. And I'm going to hit OK. Hit OK. Whoa, I did something wrong. I hit tight. I made that 2 feet instead of 2 inches. Okay. That looks a little bit better. Okay, so now that thickness is looking closer to what's in the model, what's in the drawing. And this one I want to make sure is W4 as well. And I'm going to align that to that. So AL, align that to that. Okay, beautiful. This little piece of wall should not be W4. This should be W1. Okay, and then AL, align this to that. Okay. We're doing a little bit better here. So this is still 16 foot, which is bigger than the 1511 a little bit. I think I'm going to leave it alone though. 12 foot 10, it's like a foot bigger. I think we're okay here. And then this one, let's check how much bigger this is. DI from here to here, 16 foot 8. So that's actually smaller, right? This is saying it wants to be 16 foot 8, and we only it's saying it should be 18 foot, and we only have 16 foot 8 there. Let's see more about the dining. So from here to, it's probably measuring it to there, which is a little bit hard because we don't have like a real thing there. So let's add in the walls for the bathroom. So I'm going to go to architecture, wall architectural, and this is going to be our last kind of wall, the W3. This one I'm going to use the interior dimensions of it. So I'm going to go to wall, core face, interior, or sorry, finish face, interior. Oops, starting over here. So 5'4", 5'10", 5'4". Okay, so let's just see what this dimension is from here over to here. That's only 11 foot. So that tells me that like something's not right with the drawing that these guys put up, right? Like, it doesn't make sense that this would be so much smaller. The whole back half is a lot smaller. So we can bring this all in a foot. So we'll bring in the front, we'll bring in this front wall so that this is going to be 15 foot 11. So I'm going to move this. So DI, I'm going to dimension from here to there, select this, and then change this to 15 foot 11 inches, and that'll bring that wall in. And that all lines that all came in with it, great. I'm now going to also let this get bigger. So if this is saying right now that it wants to be 18 foot, let's make sure this one should be 14 foot. 14 foot's like a big difference. So I'm going to move this until it gets to the end of this other thing we made here. I'm going to move this so at least this is 17 foot. So select this, type in 17 foot here. So at least that's 17 foot, so it's not as far off. And then this I'm going to move over whatever distance I gained there. So it looks like I gained a foot there, so I'm going to move all this over a foot. So again, like the floor plans we got were not totally to scale, which is why some of this stuff is wacky. And that's okay. We would go do site measurements and make sure it's correct in the future. Okay. So now that that's all set up, I'm going to delete all these measurements. I don't need them. So I'm going to select, delete, 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 delete. Okay, I want to put in a floor on the first floor. So I'm going to go to floor. Save your project always when it asks you. Save it more often if you can. I don't know what these floors look like. Let's see what they look like. So if I go back to here, I'm going to go through some of my interior images to look. Looks like they have wood floors. Looks like one continuous wood floor for the whole first floor. So I'm going to go to architecture. I can pick the insides of all my walls. So sorry, Control Z. I can pick my walls, and that'll define, it'll like make the core boundary. And I can just go ahead and do that the whole way down, so it looks like it's all on floor. It looks like they're showing that there's different floor in the kitchen and the dining room. I'm just going to ignore that for now. I'm going to hit the green check mark. I'm going to hit no. Okay. For my floor, it gets hard to select things sometimes. So you kind of have to tab over and just keep hitting tab until you get the thing you want. If you still can't get it, you can click and select lots of things, then go to filter, and then deselect everything you don't want and hit OK. And so I have my floor. So I don't want a 12-inch generic floor. I want to switch to wood 10 joist with wood finish. And then if I look here, it looks like the green is going the right way, so we're all good there. Okay. So now if I look in 3D, you'll see I have my those walls are kind of wacky and high. They don't need to be that high. Anyway, just see I have a couple of things in. Okay, before I go in adding more detail, I just want to get my basic rooms on the other floors. So I already have like my basic walls here. I don't have the fireplace in. I'm going to do that later. Also, I don't have the patio in. I can do that as a separate floor right now. So if I go to architecture floor, I'm just going to leave it as being a generic 12-inch floor. And I'm going to create the outline just like it looks here. Okay, so that's now representing my patio. Awesome. Okay, so all I have are walls and floors, nothing else yet. That's all I want for this first part, and then we'll go into more detail later. I'm going to change my building pad to reflect what's actually there as well. So if I come over here, I'm going to hit tab until I get my building pad. I'm going to edit my boundary and use the align tool, which is right here, and align it to this wall. Align that to there and hit the green check. Okay, so let's look at my other two floors that are here and make sure that I can put in the walls for those. So I'm going to double click on level 2. You notice there's a whole lot going on here. I just want to look at my one little area. So I'm going to click on here. I'm going to change my view scale to 1/4 inch. Click on my outside boundary and drag it in, those bubbles in, so I'm not looking at so many things at once. Okay, I want to bring that same raster image in. So I should be able to just select it here, lengthen it a second, Control C, then it again, go back to level 2, paste, align the same place, and then I'm going to move it over so that I'm getting my second floor plan. It's funny, it's not aligned here on the front or the back, it's just a sloppy drawing. Okay, so I'm going to click it over to there. Great. So again, I'm just using this as a guide. So I can see that I have some walls here I need to add in. So I'm going to go to architecture, wall, and I want my interior partition. That's all great. Finish face interior. Okay, so I'm going to come from here, come out maybe 6 foot, and then come back to here for that bathroom. Let's see where my walls are going. Level 2 to level 3. Perfect. Okay. I have another wall here that looks like it's just an interior wall, and you'll notice I have a shaft here. That's important to notice. Oh, sorry, no, that's a bathroom. Excuse me, that's a bathtub. So this is another interior partition, so architecture wall. I'm going to bring that all the way across. Even though there's an opening here, that's like a doorway opening. And I want the outside of that AL to align with that. Okay. More interior partitions. And here I'm just tracing. Closing that up. Got a closet here. Just make sure things align to AL. You can click on here, click on the other line, that way you know that they align. Okay, and that's all of my walls that are just on the second floor. All right, and then I have a third floor that's just smaller. So notice the third floor is just the front area, right? And this area over here. It's not as long of a building on the third floor. I don't have a third level floor plan, so I need to make it. So I'm going to go to View, Plan Views, Floor Plan, and then level 3, hit OK. Same thing, I'm going to select this, Control C, edit, paste, align to same place, and then I can move this over, MV, move this from here over to there. I'm just kind of trying to get that about in the right spot. So here you'll notice I should have another little bathroom. So I'm going to architecture, wall, and I want these going to level 3 to roof. And if I'm doing this, I should be able to use the dimensions they give me in there. So 9 foot 4 inches, and then across 5 foot 4 inches. Let's see if that interior dimension will end up being right. From here to there, there should be 5 foot 4 inches. Okay. So now I have all the rooms then on that level. You'll notice there's no back wall here. I need to add that in. So I'm going to go to wall, architectural, and here I want my W1. I want finished face to be the exterior, and I'm going to have it align with that line I made earlier. Okay, and now that should be all finished up. So now if I go to my 3D view, you can see those are in there. I never put in floors, so I need to go to level 3, add in a floor here. So I'm going to go to architecture, floor. I can pick walls. And then I can use the trim tool if anything looks like it's going over. And hit my green check mark. Don't attach. No. Okay, and then I'm going to go to my second floor. And same thing here. I'm going to do floor. I don't think I did the right kind of wood on the other one. I can fix that. Picking walls here. Okay, and then I'm going to use my trim tool to extend those things out. And hit my green check and don't touch. Okay, so now if I look at it, I can see a little bit better. This wall is clearly going too tall, so I'm going to select it and have this just go up to level 3. So that'll come down. So we're not doing too badly. If you want to see the floors in here, you can use something called a section box. So in my 3D view, I can come down here, click on section box, and then I can drag in the sides here. And then you can kind of see what's going on inside with that wall in between. This wall is probably not accurate. This probably wants to align with that wall so that the weight transfers down, especially because it's like the bottom floor is like that. So I'm going to go ahead and allow that to happen here. So I'm going to do AL and align the inside of this to the inside of this. So that comes down. And I'm going to align the inside of this, inside of that, align that to that. So now at least like that looks a little bit more realistic. Okay, awesome. And this is that floor that's the wrong material. I'm going to select this and change it over here under properties to the wood joist with wood finish. Okay, let's get in some doors before we take a break and complete this later. So I'm going to go to level 1. And for now, I'm going to add in some generic doors, and later I can alter them to be more exact. So I'm going to go to architecture, door, and you should have loaded in just a single flush door. You'll notice when I come over here, I can just click and it will place it. This is a 36-inch door, so that's usually what we want. In some of these older houses, it won't have 36-inch doors, especially for interiors, it might not. So like this actually also looks like a 36-inch door. When it's facing the wrong way, there's these little arrows that show up you can click on that'll flip them. I think that door does want to be a little bit smaller. So if I select it, I can click on here and I can change it to a different one. So I could do 34 inches, for example, and that might be more accurate. I have another door here, architecture, door. I can select that. This also looks like it might be a little bit too large. I can change it to 34 inch. Okay, for these are openings more, and I'm not sure what they look like. So I'm going to take a quick look back at the pictures. So it looks like that's like a square opening between the kitchen. That's also, it looks like they're all square openings. So to make wall openings, it's pretty simple. We just go to architecture, wall opening over here. Click on that and you click on the wall and you kind of click and drag to define how large it is. And you can hover over here and kind of bring that over. And then the height you set over here. So I'm going to set that top tray is unconnected. I'm going to make the height of this, do we think it's 8 foot or 7 foot? I'm going to say that's 8. I think 8 foot might be right for that. And let's look at the other ones. The other ones look like they might be a little shorter. I'll keep them all at 8 foot for our purposes. So 8 foot's fine. Level 1 unconnected. Okay, so we have that opening in. I'm missing the back door, so I'm going to click on door, click on that back door. And it looks like, again, I want the 34-inch door here. It doesn't look quite as wide as 36. Okay, so opening, door, opening's missing here, so I'm going to put an opening here. And now I'm realizing also that our floors are going to have to change a little bit because you see stairs here, which means that there is a level change happening right here, right, of 3 steps. So we'll need to fix that in a minute. I'm going to put my wall opening. So architecture, wall opening, clicking on here, and then click and drag to make that opening. I'm going to then tab to select the opening, and then I want this to be unconnected. 8 foot is good. I can type in AL to get to align with the side of that. It doesn't really like that, so maybe I'll leave that in a tiny bit. 2 foot 6 for that opening. Okay. So opening there. Does this opening go across here? We'll leave it like that is for now. Okay, so I mentioned that it looks like there's a step down here, so we need to actually change this floor. So I'm going to tap until I get the floor, and then I'm going to Control C, and I'm going to paste it in the same place. So paste, align to same place. It's not going to like that. It's going to yell at me. I'm going to edit my boundary. This first floor, I'm going to stop here, and I'm going to delete all the other lines over here. I'm going to hit my green check. Okay, so then for the second floor, I'm going to edit this boundary, and I'm going to have it stop early. Okay, so it should be this whole back area, and that hopefully is all at the same level. Okay, I'm going to hit the green check, and I know here. Okay, so this floor looks like it comes down 2 steps, maybe 3. Let's see if we can look at the pictures and figure it out. It looks like it's just 2 steps, 1, 2. So let's say that's 14 inches. So in this model, I'm going to height offset from level. I'm going to make it negative 14 inches. So that will come down a tiny bit there. Okay, and then the tricky part is that I can't forget that all these doors also need to start lower. So I'm going to select all these doors, and their height, ceiling height is going to be negative 14 inches because they are lower than level 1. These walls right now, these interior walls I had starting at level 1, but in fact, they need to start lower. They need to start, I'll start them at negative 14 inches also. Okay, and finally this opening back here should be negative 14 inches here, and then I think I'm now good. Okay, so if we look at our bottom level, this wall needs to come down. We can do AL, select the bottom, like that, and that'll bring that down. All right, so you'll see that you have kind of this raised living room floor, and then the other floors back here are down. Okay, let's add doors on our other levels. So now I'm going to go to level 2. I can't see anything because I'm not wireframe. It's going to come down here to visual styles, change to wireframe, and then add in doors. So architecture, door. So put this in, flip it. This wants to be a double door here. So they should have their doubles loaded. They don't. So we need to load a family. So I'm going to go to insert, load family. English Imperial should come up by default. I then go to doors, double click, and then I want doors, double flush panel, and hit open. And I'm going to bring in a few. These are the different types I can bring in. So I'm going to say 6 foot by 7 foot, but I also want to bring in maybe the by 6'10", maybe also the 5'8" by 7 foot, 5'8" by 6'10", and then hit OK. Okay, so now I can go ahead and place those doors, and they actually look like they're still too large, so we need to edit this family. I'm going to select this family, edit type, and so let's check how big it is first. So I'm going to do DL for detail line, just to check from here to here is how wide, 4'8". Okay, so I'm going to select this, go to edit type, duplicate my type. I'm going to change this to be 4 foot 8 inches by 7 foot 0 feet. 7 foot 7 inches. Okay, and then hit OK. So I'm going to make my height here 7 foot 10 inches. Make my width 4 foot 8 inches. So I'm changing those parameters, and then I hit OK. So that is now shorter. Okay, so I have those two doors in. This looks like it has a wall opening, so I'm going to go to architecture wall, click on the wall, and then click and drag to make the opening. And then this does make it a 2 foot 6 foot opening. And then we want to make sure that it is the base constraints level 2. It's unconnected. It's 8 foot tall. Great. Over hallway. This bathroom looks like it has a sliding door. That's fancy. So to add in the sliding door, let's see if we have one that we can even load in. If I go to insert, load family, it's not a double sliding. So section overhead rolling for the residential. I don't think they have a sliding door in here, and I don't want to get into making families yet. So we're just going to put in a regular door for now, and at some point I can show you how to do sliding doors, but I'm going to go to architecture door and just put in a regular door for now. So going back here to the single laundry room door, door here. The closet door, we're just going to use the opening, so architecture. Try to escape anytime you need to get out of the command. So architecture wall opening, selecting here, and then clicking and dragging to make the opening. Okay, so I think we have all of our doors on this level. And then finally our third level, level 3, same deal over here. You're going to want to go to wireframe so you can see what's going on beneath. And then click on door. So adding a door here, flopping it. We need to go back to our double doors. So we have our 4 foot double doors. Throwing that in. And it looks like all of those are in here already. Okay. So at this point, you should have a model that has walls, doors, and floors. We still need to add in stairs, roofs, and windows. So we're going to do that in the next video. We're going to take a pause here. Make sure you save. To show that you completed this tutorial, let's go to this section view and grab a snap. Or actually, yeah, let's grab a snap of the section view. So again, you would go to your snipping tool, new, and you're going to click and drag and upload this image as to show that you did this tutorial.